What's going on, guys? Welcome back to No Reserve Radio. I'm your host, Ren. With me, as always, tonight is Angelo. Austin is actually joining us tonight, and going forward, Austin will be very regular on the show, potentially permanent. We will see. We have a fun episode tonight. We're doing player comparisons, or NBA this or that. That's what we'll call it. We had a list give us a bunch of random players, and basically we would get one player, hit the random generator, get another player that's similar, and we're going to debate and discuss which player we prefer and why. But before we get into that, how are you guys doing?
Doing pretty good. I'm actually feeling the best I've felt in the last 3 weeks, which is amazing.
So am I. I think everyone was getting over a bunch of stuff over the past few weeks. It's been an effort to get energy to do anything, but seems like everyone's now finally getting over it and we're back to strength.
Yeah, finally.
But I don't know. It's been a quiet week in the NBA. It's felt like we've had like a maelstrom of just news for a couple weeks, and then like nothing really happened this week. There weren't any huge games that I can think of off the top of my head. There hasn't really been any trade rumors that are out of the normal. Really nothing groundbreaking this week. It's been relatively slow. I know that the second returns for All-Star voting came out. I haven't actually looked at them yet, but I'm guessing nothing has changed because it never does.
Yeah, I haven't looked at him either. I think the biggest thing I heard coming into this week is LeBron and his statement that he would prefer to be playing for something while he's, going for records, and he doesn't want to, you know, be breaking Kareem's record while the Lakers are a bottom feeding team, which
Right,
like I
and that's kind of the LeBron mentality. Like, what's the point if you're losing, right? So I don't know. Outside of that, Tyrese Halliburton, who's in that race, just broke the news 2 weeks out with a knee and shoulder injury. So that kind of not the best for my Pacers, but
What
he's
or it
young.
is the best for your Pacers because you want them to lose.
That is true. I mean, I want them to win, but it's a rebuild. Like, right? Like, I want them to win. But question of the week. So we're going to get into that real quick. I have an interesting one. I just accidentally closed it. So there it is. Okay. So if you could do any job in the world and you didn't need the money from that job, what would you do? So if you could do anything and the money wasn't an issue, like it didn't matter how much you were being paid, like everything was paid for already. Like what would you do if you didn't have any responsibilities?
So I guess I have a question on that question before.
Okay.
Do you mean like if we chose a job that we don't currently have the skills for, but if we want, like if we were able to have the skills for, would we do that
Sure. So
job?
like in this hypothetical, you've won $1 billion in the lottery. You can invest whatever time towards those skills to get that job. Like you have no reason to do that job for the money. It's just if you had no limitations to do that job, what would it be? If you say astronaut, I'm gonna.
No, I'm actually gonna go with Imagineer for Disney.
Oh, that would be fun.
would be really
That
fun.
actually would be my answer too, because that would be a lot of fun. I think
Yeah.
that wasn't going to be my answer, but I'm changing mine. I'm not even gonna tell you what my original answer is because that's a good one.
That is
Because
a
like you get to
very good
do all
one.
the fun kid-like stuff as an adult, and no one can tell you anything about it. Angela, what would yours be?
Exactly.
Honestly, this isn't a job, but and this is I guess this is partially retiring, but I would do what my dad does, and that's he has his own business on the side, and then he does semi-professional bowling tournaments in the area. I would do that.
That I mean,
I would so do that.
yeah, I would. Investing time into a sport would be something. If I didn't have to worry about getting hurt, then I would. Because like if you go get hurt playing pickup basketball, or like in like a little local tournament,
Yeah.
your job doesn't care. That's in their eyes you did something stupid. You're
Yeah.
basically SOL.
Yep.
Getting back to basketball, so Dirk Nowitzki, as you guys are aware, and especially Austin because he's a Mavs fan,
He's a Dirk
had a
fan.
statue unveiled. He had a statue unveiled earlier this year. It's a great looking statue. We talked about it earlier on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
On the side of that statue, it says, loyalty never fades away, or something similar to that. I might be mixing it up. What NBA superstars, all time or current, if they were to get a statue, what would you put on the side of it? What would they have on the side of their statues?
It is loyalty never fades away, by the way.
Loyalty never fades away.
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually did a few. Some of them are cheesy, some of them are good. I don't know what you want me to start with, but I have the Bucks at the top. I would do Giannis, and I would put his motto as loyalty through contact.
Oh, I like that. See, when I was thinking about this, like I was thinking about like the easy ones. So like I was thinking, depending on where. So if LeBron gets a statue, which he probably
He's
will,
actually on my list, but go on.
I so there's three places he could get a statue.
It's going to be in Cleveland.
It's absolutely going to be in Cleveland. But if it's in two places, so if it's in say Miami, like if there's a Dwayne Wade and LeBron statue, which like in my head I'm seeing that statue, and I can say this picture and everyone's going to know what I'm talking about. The picture of the alley
The
oop
bounce. Yep.
where 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 Wade is running under the basket and he throws up and LeBron's dunking it.
Yep.
That would be a great way to incorporate both of them.
Yep.
But with a statue with LeBron, there's really only one, like there's one word that you would put on that statue
Block.
because
If in front
it
of the
would be witness.
Cavs, in front of the Cavs, it would be his block on Iguodala.
Yeah. So on the one in Ohio, I feel like on his statue, if you were to put a quote on the side, it would just say "a kid from Akron."
No, I actually have something like this. Mine was comeback kid on the block. That was actually what I had written down for LeBron's. But yes.
I could see that on the Ohio one. If he got one in Miami, I think it would just be that one word "witness."
Yep.
Or "we were all witness," or "we are all witness," whatever. That's kind of how I went with it. Is I think you're gonna get those cheesy taglines or the ones that like fit. But
Yeah.
Austin, do you have any?
As I was thinking, I think a cheesy one would be if Embiid ever got a statue in Philly, it'd have to be Trust the Process or something along those lines.
That's
Yeah,
true.
it would just be, it would just, or I don't know. I feel like Embiid will eventually get one because I think he's one of those players I could see being a lifer for Philly. He seems to really love the city.
Yeah.
And I mean, his nickname is The Process. If anyone's going to trust the process of a rebuild, it better be the guy named after it.
Yeah.
So, what other ones do you have, Angelo? Because it sounds like you made a list.
So actually, I have three more.
Oh, okay. Let's hear 'em.
The Warriors, I have Steph Curry, and
Obviously.
the motto was changing the game from deep.
I think you could just have changing the game because he just changed the game. It didn't have to be.
I wanted something that incorporated his 3-point shooting.
Okay, I
That's
I
it.
dig it.
I dig it. I like it.
I did Jokic for the Nuggets.
Good.
This one actually took me the longest, and I actually came up with passing greatness in ranges.
I could also see that.
And my last one for the Spurs, I did Greg Popovich, and it just says dedication through adversity.
Ooh. I wasn't
I
expecting a
I
coach
wasn't
like it.
expecting a coach statue, but I feel like it's tough because the Spurs have three people who deserve a statue,
Yeah, absolutely.
and that's Popovich, Duncan, Robinson.
Yep.
Honestly, I don't disagree. I think Popovich should get it first because he's been there forever, and he is also the driving force to those championship teams.
Honest,
Obviously, having
honestly,
a Tim Duncan,
yeah.
like, it helps.
Honestly, if it
But
was just Greg Popovich with like Duncan, Manu, and Parker, I'd be cool with that too.
yeah, that would be like a good statue too. Or like
Yeah.
if they just ripped off Mount Rushmore and had those four guys.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Granted, that would be an insult to their history to just have the modern history, but most modern fans, not Spurs fans, because Spurs fans know their team better than modern casual NBA fans, but most modern NBA casual fans associate those four with the Spurs. And then obviously you throw in Kawhi there towards the end, but
Yeah.
I think that run they went on through the early 2000s and the mid 2000s was, even if you weren't an NBA fan, because I had kind of drifted away from the NBA during that time, you still were drawn to that game. It was a lot of great players playing together. Do you have any others, Austin?
No, I was doing some research on Popovich because I was just curious how long he's actually been coaching for the Spurs.
Mm-hmm.
Was not a
And
fan in San Antonio for a long time.
he has been coaching longer than I've been alive,
Yes.
It's
plus a few years.
it's like I said, if anyone deserves a statue before, because again, if you're in a franchise that has Robinson and Duncan, you have to do something special to get statue priority before them, and I think
Yeah.
Popovich has earned that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Generally.
But no, it's those are some good lists. I didn't do much preparing myself on that side of the topic. Just something I wanted to discuss because I'm really there's a lot of players. Who do you think, besides LeBron, besides Steph, besides Giannis, are there any players in the league right now that you think 100% will get a statue? Because even with Steph and Giannis, I'm not convinced they would. I think they
I'm
are
not
worthy
sold
of
on
them.
Giannis. I'm sold on Curry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess Curry's 100%. So Curry and LeBron are the locks almost.
Yeah.
Then like Giannis, Jokic, Embiid. There's a lot of players that could get there, but I think you have to be a really special player to get the statue.
Yeah.
I'm not sure with the parity that's in the league right now. As a fan of the
Ooh.
parity,
Ooh. 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 Ooh.
ooh,
Ooh. Ooh. That
ooh,
reminds
ooh,
me.
you got
JJ
something.
Redick did something on parody, and I forgot exactly what he said. He said something like, parody distorts reality. And it
Right.
makes it so teams that know deep down they should sell won't, and instead will try to buy pieces to buy. And he used like the Raptors as an example, or teams
The
that are on the
Pacers.
fringe. Pacers as an example, yeah.
No, that came out today that executives around the league are expecting the Pacers to be buyers. Don't get me wrong, I am the biggest Pacers homer in the world. I am all about the Sirs. ESPN ranked us as the 10 best team in the NBA right now.
They're wrong.
No.
They're wrong.
This is not the season to be trying to compete. That said, we're going all the way. It's happening.
No, you're not.
Cinderella story. Cinderella story. Benedict Mathurin is the best player in the world. Proved it. Beat LeBron twice.
I will see you in the playoffs.
Did he beat him twice? But yeah, so let's go ahead and get into the actual meat of the video
Yep.
podcast, which is
It'll be
player
on YouTube
comparisons.
too. So
Like I said, we waited until the comparisons made sense. We didn't just like click on one player and then do a random generator for another player. So we don't have like Cam Johnson versus Nikola Jokic. That wouldn't make sense.
no.
So we did a random generator for one player. We waited until we got a starter caliber player, and then we did another random generator until we got a similar player.
Yep.
And one that we thought would either be interesting or not. I'm not sure we really knocked it out of the park in terms of the interesting category.
We'll see. I
I think a couple of them are going to be really interesting discussions. I think a couple of them are really obvious,
there might be some spicy takes. We'll see.
and we are only comparing them for this season to date. So nothing about their playoff performance last year or their playoff performance 5 years ago. That's irrelevant. We're only talking about this season to date. Some players that might benefit a little bit because I'm looking at the list and there are a couple players who missed time at the
Some
start of the
players
season.
are having
so
their worst
numbers,
3-point shooting year, so I'm just saying.
so
I'm just
they're
saying.
at a point where they've played less games, so their numbers might be a little inflated. So we're gonna try to be unbiased in that, where we're understanding like if he's only played 20 games compared to this player's 33, his numbers might be a little better because he's had less room for error, or reverse that. You get the point. So, first one will be Darius Garland versus Trae Young. So, Angelo, do you want to open this up since Darius is one of your players?
Darius. Actually, I'm pulling up the stats on both right now.
I want you to justify this right now.
So
I just don't
So
know how you can.
here's my argument. So first off, is Trae Young the top guy in his offense?
Yes.
Is Darius Garland the top guy in his offense?
No, some nights he is. Though. No, some nights he is though.
He's a rub. He has been to this point a better 3-point shooter and B better from the field. Now you can say that's with less volume, and that's fair. Darius Garland. What's that?
Let me just go on. Keep talking. I'm just checking something.
Darius Garland, despite not being the top guy on his offense, is contributing a higher win share to the Cavs than Trae Young is for the Hawks. And Trae Young is the top guy. So Darius Garland on the Cavs, not being the top guy, is contributing more to their winning than Trae Young is on the Hawks. That was really the big crutch of what I was looking at, like, because there's no reason that Trae Young should not be higher in that stat to me.
So can I
Sure.
interject here? Did you look at their usage?
Yes, and Trae's is a lot higher.
It's not a lot higher. It's not a lot higher.
Hold on.
His usage percent is 33.7 this season. Darius Garland is 27.2, which is the second highest of his career. That's not significant.
Okay, it is, but
it's not. It's
right,
law of large numbers. The per is in Garland's
the per's not in
favor.
Garland's favor.
Every trackable attribute.
It's Young's, yeah.
Or not Garland.
As it should be.
Every trackable metric, whether it's points, rebounds, assists, are in Young's favor. So why would you take Garland over Young?
Because of the unknown. This is Trae as the guy. I generally don't know per se what Darius Garland is going to look like as the guy. And I honestly, I don't think we're going to answer that question because I think Donovan Mitchell is going to be there while Darius Garland is there. I just from what I've seen, Darius Garland has been more willing to take a step back and adjust with a superstar there. And I think that's honestly what Trae Young needs to do. I would love to see Trae Young in Darius Garland's exact role and see what happens. But I think A, the win shares, and B, I think Darius Garland fits his role better than Trae Young is fitting his role.
I'm trying to find. This is something I didn't think to look up before here. So this might be something that I'm completely wrong about. So someone wants to fact check it while I'm talking. If someone wants to fact check it while I'm talking, since Trae Young is the focal point of his offense, right? And he is the essentially most important piece of that offense.
Yeah.
Agree or disagree? Is Darius Garland the most important piece of his offense? Okay. So, which player do you think is drawing the top defender? Is it going to be Mitchell or is it going to be Garland? Right. So, shouldn't Garland's numbers be even higher?
Not necessarily.
Considering Trae is basically facing double teams higher percentage than anyone, at least he was last year, I believe.
Yeah.
We talked about that earlier. I haven't looked at this season yet, and that's what I was trying to look up. He's the most doubled player in the NBA.
Yeah.
And his stats blow Garland's out of the water. Blow them out of the water in points, rebounds, and assists. Well, not in rebounds, and rebounds are actually pretty close. But he's averaging 2 assists more per game and like 5.5 points more per game. It's just. I don't think you have. If you were to pick one of these players to build around, I don't think there's a bad choice in the slightest. They're both fantastic players. But if you want me to pick one or the other right now, I'm going to Trae Young. Austin, who are you going with?
I've honestly been flipping back and forth between your 2 points. I did look up the most double teamed players per game. It is actually Garland.
Whoa!
Garland has an average possession double team per game of 25.4. Trae is 23.1.
Whoa!
I'm completely wrong then.
I'm shook. I did not expect that.
I still am taking. I didn't either. I'm still taking Trae. But that is very impressive for Garland.
Wow. But that also must show how important Garland is to Mitchell's ability to like get one-on-ones and also, be able to create his own shot and why he's having a great season so far this year.
Mitchell is actually double teamed less than both of those players.
If Garland's being doubled more, then he has to be doubled less.
Yeah.
I wonder what coaches are seeing that's leading to that, because I haven't noticed.
I know it's always Mitchell going off.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. That's something I'm gonna have to start watching for. I didn't expect that at all. That's a very quiet double team if it's really there.
Wow.
Really there. But Austin, who are you taking?
I think I'm gonna side with Angela on this one.
Disappointing.
I know it's nasty for me to even say, but I think I gotta go with Angelo.
I think it's close. I think it's close. I don't think, like I said, there's a wrong answer. I just think that if you were to put competent players around Trae Young.
Oh my God!
No.
So the same team he took an Eastern Conference Finals to, or a very similar team, is not support now. Is that what you're saying? They still have John
They lost
Collins.
a couple
He's
key
still
pieces.
man. They added just John Tamer. You know what? Go on. Next point.
I'm just saying that.
Go on.
I'm just saying that there's not. Honestly, I forgot DeJounte Murray was there.
Oh my God!
DeJounte Murray was there. I'm not gonna lie.
He's
been really quiet. He's been really quiet this season. Like when he was on the Spurs, it was like every other night there was a highlight reel.
I think that's
Haven't
'cause it was
noticed
the
that this year.
Spurs.
But you know why we haven't noticed that? Nathaniel McMillan. Moving on. Because I'm now disappointed in Austin. I'm reconsidering
he's
having him
permanent
on tonight.
from now on. He's permanent.
Paul George versus
He's
Jimmy
permanent.
Butler. Paul George versus Jimmy Butler. This is a comparison that would have been a
I
lot
don't
more
care what
fun
you
when
say,
they were
he's
younger.
permanent.
This would have been a lot more fun when they were younger. Very. I don't want to say similar players because Jimmy Butler can't shoot. But they've always been known as the
Hey,
two-way
Ren!
players in the league.
Guess who's shooting better than
What?
Trae Young this year
What?
from three? Yeah, it would be Jimmy Butler. So if Jimmy Butler can't shoot, then Trae Young can't shoot, right? This year, right?
This year,
Okay.
this year Trey cannot shoot. I never will deny that. This has been a
Okay.
horrible shooting year for Trey Young.
Okay.
You are absolutely right. Do you want
Okay.
a cookie for me
I-
saying that?
I'm just saying.
There's
Because
so Jimmy Butler versus Paul George.
Jimmy Butler.
Angelo, take it away.
Jimmy
Jimmy Butler.
averaging more assists, higher field goals, yes, less higher PR, almost double the win shares. I will take Jimmy Butler. That's
We're in disagreement. We're in complete disagreement because I'm taking in today's NBA, you live by the three, you die by the three. If your star player or one of your star players cannot shoot the three or can't shoot it well, I'm not having it. Now, playoff Jimmy turns it up, and he's a different beast. Sure, whatever. Regular season Jimmy just doesn't seem to care about the regular season.
And yet somehow he is averaging more rebounds, averaging more assists, has a higher PER, and is contributing more to his team winning than Paul George when he doesn't care. I'm just saying. You wanted to compare this season. This is what I'm doing.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm not disagreeing with that. What I'm disagreeing with, I will talk about in just 1 second after I finish looking it up because I want to confirm that I am correct on this. Okay, no, they're actually similar. Never mind.
Go on.
I was going to compare their teams' records. But what does Paul George have that Jimmy Butler doesn't have? Well, no. A Kawhi. He has a team.
Man, I really wish I lived in your world where DeJounte Murray, John Collins, Bam Adebayo are bums. Man.
Oh, no. Jimmy's got a starting. Oh, no.
Yes.
Jimmy's got a starting five. Starting four. But are you going to tell me? Are you going to tell me that if you're building a team, if you're building a team, you want Dwayne Dedmon on your team? He's one of your pieces that you want coming off the bench playing legitimate minutes.
But we're talking about Jimmy Butler and Paul George.
Awful. That's what I'm saying. Right. One of these players has to put the backpack on more frequently, so their numbers are going to be a little bit more inflated. Remember Russ in OKC?
Are you really comparing Jimmy Butler right now to Russell Westbrook?
I'm just saying somebody has to get those rebounds. Somebody has to get those assists. That's all I'm saying.
The teams.
I'm taking Paul George. I'm taking Paul George. There's nothing you
Alright.
could say that could convince me
Alright.
not to. I think that Paul George, I'm not building a team around him, but I'm not building a team
Alright.
around Jimmy Butler either. I'm talking about who's going to be the Robin to whatever my Batman's going to be. Paul George fits that role better. Paul George fits that role better.
Yeah.
And
Alright.
Paul George is also like 6'10". They've got him listed shorter on Basketball Reference. I know, but I believe
6'8"
he's
is
actually
what they
6'10". He can
Yeah.
guard 2 through 3 or 2 through 4. He can guard 2
He
through
actually
4.
weighs less than Jimmy Butler
Probably
too.
through 5. And who's the only player that went toe to toe with LeBron in the playoffs that like played the same
You mean
position?
Jimmy Butler's never played LeBron in the
It's
finals?
Paul George.
You mean Jimmy Butler didn't do everything he can to try to win that game in overtime? That what you mean?
Everything did everything he could
Wow.
except win.
I love sticking to the current
Wow.
format.
Wow.
What do you got, Austin?
I don't want to say because you're gonna kick me off. I don't want to say because you're gonna kick me off the show.
Because he knows I'm right. You know. What? What do you want?
And you know I'm a Jimmy Butler hater. Jimmy Butler hater, but I
Thank
think
you!
Jimmy's got it this year.
Like, what are you arguing?
Shooting's just too important. I can't.
Okay,
I
okay.
can't.
Then why isn't Darius Garland better than Trae Young?
I don't think your argument about Kawhi being
How many games has
Paul
Kawhi even
George's
played
team
this
is
year?
valid because
No. That's talking about like the talent spread, the talent dispersal on each of their teams, because we brought up win shares and like effective per and all that, and that's correlated to that. So if you're the only person on your team that's going to be getting points or rebounds or assists or whatever, those numbers are going to be higher. I'm taking Paul.
Okay.
I'm taking Paul.
Okay.
I'm taking
Okay.
Pandemic P.
And you thought this was going to be boring. This was the boring section, people. This was supposed to be in the boring section.
This was supposed to be the boring section because looking at it, this was the only, like the first two, I
Yeah.
was like, this is easy. Like everyone's gonna pick these because this makes it, like later on, like as I'm looking down the list, there's one more that I think is going to be easy, and we're gonna that's the next one. And if we all don't pick the same one here, which knowing Angelo, actually, we're not going to. In fact, I know we're not going to. So we're gonna get right to it. LeBron versus Kevin Durant. Go ahead, Angelo.
Uh-oh.
All right. Alright.
Angela.
All right. All right. All right. All right. It's Kevin Durant,
Durant, right?
yes. It's Kevin Durant, yes.
Holy crap.
As much as I love LeBron, he's my GOAT, but the Lakers are not as successful. KD is averaging more points. He's averaging less rebounds and less assists. Higher field goal percentage, higher 3-point, higher PER, higher win shares. It's KD. I can't say Jimmy Butler is obviously better than PG with all the same stats up, and then no, it's KD. And KD is the driving force of that Brooklyn team. Even if LeBron has had to be the driving force the last few weeks with AD out, but it is KD this year.
My answer, full disclosure, is KD, but I'm gonna be devil's advocate here and say LeBron James. The reason is let me give you my reason.
Okay.
Between what does LeBron James have that Kevin
Playmaking
Durant
ability.
doesn't have? No. What LeBron James has
Oh my
is a
god.
handicap. He has Russell Westbrook on
Are
his
you
team.
giving him brownie points for Russell
So all of
Westbrook
his-
being on his team?
Yes, I am. This man has had to endure Russell Westbrook for now 31 games, 32 games, something
31.
games.
All right.
31.
I have a question for you. Did you see?
Go ahead.
Obviously, you watched that NBA Finals where J.R. Smith flummed the.
I'm just gonna have a hot take. Russell Westbrook is a better J.R.
That's
Smith
actually
than
where I was
J.R.
going
Smith.
with that.
He is the epitome of like the J.R. Henney meme. That is Russell Westbrook. Also, I heard a rumor that J.R. Smith still has not put on a
I was
t-shirt.
actually watching a short with J.R. Smith, and he said something to the effect about that play specifically, the one where he, dribbled it out when he thought they had the lead.
Guessing he thought they were in the lead.
Apparently, after that play, LeBron went to the bench and was asking, "Did we have a timeout? Did we have a timeout?" And no one wanted to answer him because the answer was yes. And and he said at the end that you guys put that on me because no one wanted to take responsibility for that. I was like, there's some truth to that, but that was still pretty rough play, bro. That was still...
So Lakers live by the three, die by the three. They're dying by the three. LeBron is handicapped because nobody on that team can shoot, and LeBron's best skill at this point in his career
Yep.
is his playmaking. He is probably the most high basketball IQ player in the NBA, and he can't fully utilize that without shooters. So I'm joking by saying it's Russell Westbrook, but it's the Russell Westbrook effect. There's nobody there to shoot. LeBron can't be LeBron if he doesn't have quality players to pass to. In a vacuum, because again, I'm taking Kevin Durant. I'm just being devil's advocate here because otherwise this would be really boring. LeBron James is still the better player than Kevin Durant. He's not the better scorer.
I don't know about
but he's
that.
the better player.
Just because of the defense fall off. I know Kevin Durant isn't the greatest defender right now. At least not back when he was in the finals. But I'd still take. Go ahead.
So here's my question for you, because we were just talking about this with Jimmy Butler. If the Lakers by some miracle make the playoffs and are actually playing well, and LeBron has not gassed
He's
himself
gonna do whatever he can to get that team to the playoffs. I hope you know that.
I know, but what I'm saying is, if he's in the playoffs, is LeBron going to continue to play the same lackluster defense we've been seeing, or is he actually going to get down into his stance and try?
Ooh.
Because I don't think the problem is LeBron can't play defense anymore. Like defense isn't something you just forget
I
how to
think
play.
the answer lies with, is AD there for that series, and is it because if he is, then they could run plays where LeBron gets the ball, dribbles up, bounced pass to AD works in the post, and LeBron stands on the wing or stands in the corner, and then he can try more on defense. So
you don't think that no matter what, LeBron's coming to the end of his career. You don't think that regardless of if AD is there or not,
he's not going to. No,
he's not going to. If he's in the playoffs, he's not.
No, he's going to give everything he has. I just don't know if. I don't know. I don't know how much he's. He's an all-time great defender. I don't know how much he can give on defense now.
I think he's still got it. I think he's still got it. I think.
You think he's just saving it?
He's still the better.
You think he's just saving it?
I think he's just saving it. I think he's just saving it. I don't think. So to be an all-time great, and LeBron is certainly an all-time great, you have to have a mentality that you have to be exceptional among exceptional. NBA players are among the greatest athletes in the world. You have to be better than all of them. And that is LeBron James. You have to have a mindset to always win, always be better, always strive. I don't think LeBron has it in him to get to the playoffs and not for us not to see vintage LeBron. Like Kobe's last game. Great example. You know you're going out. You know it's the end of your career. Why wouldn't you put everything you have into those games? I am taking Kevin Durant, but I don't think LeBron would be a bad choice. Because I do think LeBron is the better overall player. Whether he still acts like it all the time, or if he's just embraced the regular season doesn't matter, and hopefully drag this team kicking and screaming into the playoffs, or hopefully they get him
They're
some
not gonna
help,
get him
because having LeBron be in the league, we've still got a couple.
I'll
like,
bet
a
whatever
month.
you
We
want
have
to
a month
bet.
left.
The Lakers are not making a significant move.
We will discuss that bet
Okay.
after the episode. Because as basketball fans, I'm hoping they're making a move, even if that move is trading LeBron, because again, being an NBA fan, whether you like LeBron or not, it's weird for LeBron to be in an NBA uniform and not in the playoffs. So that is that for Bron and KD. Austin, who you got?
KD, no surprise.
Yeah, the way that conversation just happened is how I expected the last three to go. Garland, I could see Angelo taking, but so next will be actually this one shouldn't be too difficult. I think we're all gonna
Better
pick the
be.
same one, so probably do
I said it better be the one I'm thinking. Go on.
Mitchell and Levine.
Yep.
Mitchell and Levine. So I go ahead and go through go through who you're picking and why. I am probably picking the same player unless you're throwing a
No,
curveball.
there is no curveball with this. Donovan Mitchell is better than Zach LaVine this season in every way imaginable. If I'm correct, points, yep. Oh, rebounds, he's got them. Assists, yep. Field goal, yep. 3-point, they're shooting the same. PER, yep. Win shares, yeah. No. What's your argument? The ball is dead. It's over. I could see him in the play-in, and then losing.
I think him in the
Honestly,
play-in. I don't. So I have this like recency bias type thing where I don't consider the play-in making the playoffs. Like if you are a play-in team, in my eyes, that's not a playoff team.
I mean, one of them gets to be
Whether
a playoff
you
team.
like,
Yeah.
I
I
think
mean,
you have
two
to-
of them
what?
become a playoff team, so.
Yeah, two of them become a playoff team, but I don't think making the play-in makes you a playoff team. So I would say probably not for the Bulls because I could see them making the play-in. I don't see barring like we still have time for trades. I don't see this team making the actual playoffs.
I discussed it in the last one. They did this kind of impromptu to try to, get hype around Chicago and see if they could build something around Levine. I think it's a lost cause. I'm sure they're going to continue to try this. So, it's a lost
I wouldn't say
cause,
it's a
bro.
lost cause. I don't know. I have faith in Zach LaVine.
To get swept in
Like
the
I said, I
playoffs?
don't think he would fit as the
To get swept in the
star.
playoffs?
To what?
Who's the best player in the Bulls? Okay, so you get
Zach
swept in
LaVine.
the playoffs. Congratulations. You lose the play-in game.
Well,
No. Deuced.
moving
Yep.
right along. So the next one I've got down the list is Tyrese Halliburton versus LaMelo. I wrote Bell, but I'm guessing
I went into this and I really think the argument for LaMelo Ball is versatile scorer and he is more willing to score, and Tyrese is more of a here's the
Absolutely.
stats right now as I click has 8.6 assists to Tyrese Halliburton, 20 points, 4 rebounds, 10 is more of a facilitator. LaMelo is a scorer. If I was building a team around someone, it would probably be LaMelo, but Tyrese is having the better season, and if I'm not mistaken, LaMelo's played half the games. LaMelo's hurt.
Yeah, LaMelo's one of the players. He's only played, I think, 18 games.
Yeah,
Yeah,
18
LaMelo's
games.
one of the players. He's only played, I think, 18 games. I think one thing that is interesting to me, and this is coming from a Pacers fan. I am surprised to learn
Yes, he's shooting better in
Tyrese
every
is
way, if I'm
shooting
not
better
mistaken.
from three than LaMelo. He is shooting better in every way, but better from
I
three
mean,
is something that's more shocking
Tyrese is
to
a
me.
40% career free three-point shooter,
I
so is
do
that really
think-
surprising?
Go on. It shouldn't be, and that's kind of like. It shouldn't be, and that's kind of like. I think it's because he's such a quiet player. He is. We talked about David Robinson when we were talking about the statues earlier, and I think it's kind of that same thing. Like, there's not a lot of the showboating, so like you don't notice it. There's not the Steph
Countdown.
Curry shooting a three, and while it's
Yeah.
in the air, you're already doing your sleeping celebration, like, because you know it's going in. Like, Tyrese is just a quiet scorer. He doesn't showboat a lot. He's a very humble guy. So I think that's why I'm surprised to learn that, because I've not noticed him. I mean,
Yeah.
I have, because
0 for 8, baby.
you and I have had the conversation about Tyrese's shooting, because
0
you
for
decided
8.
one night that when Tyrese went 0 for 8 from 3, that was Tyrese. But I've always just imagined LaMelo
He's a better
as
scorer, for sure.
a better or more efficient scorer, and that's not. I don't know. I think. I don't know. I don't know.
I think it's easier for
think
Tyrese to be
he is
efficient
right
when.
now.
I mean, granted, LaMelo's only played 18 games, but I think it's easier for Tyrese to be efficient when you have Buddy Hield around you and you have Miles Turner around you. Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of the best 3-point shooters of all time. I don't know. I'm taking Tyrese, but
I have to. But my argument
I don't know.
would
I'm
be
taking
LaMelo
Tyrese,
is a better
but
scorer of the ball, and I look for that in a player more than the playmaking generally. But
for me, it's the opposite. So if I was building a team, for me, it's the opposite. So if I was building a team, I would want the playmaker, because you can build a decent team around them. I would almost say an elite passer is harder to find than a scorer, because especially now, there's a lot of guys that can go get you 20. There's not a lot of guys that can get you 10 plus assists. So I prioritize the floor general aspect of it. I think Tyrese is a better defender.
this year,
And he's a better shooter, apparently. Didn't
actually,
know
what
that,
is
but so
oh, then yeah, he is.
LaMelo's career is
too.
42, 37, 83. Yeah. So trying to think of an argument besides the fact that LaMelo is such an electric scorer, but I can't see any reason I would take him over Tyrese, and maybe that's my Pacers bias, but even with his scoring, I think the fact that Tyrese is a positive defender and he seems to be a really good locker room guy this far in his career, which is shocking because he is super young still. That's who I would take. Austin, you've been quiet this round.
You all are hitting all the points.
Yeah, I think I'm just.
Angelo, it seems, but
You all are hitting all the points. I'm just following Angelo, it seems, but I'm going Halliburton as well.
I mean, that's to be fair, both of us took Halliburton that time.
Oh,
following
this is
Angelo.
going to get interesting at the end then. Okay.
Do you think?
I'm still looking
Well,
at LaMelo here.
because I'm still looking at LaMelo here, and
How long, or do you think?
how long, or do you think
Hornets.
the
When do you think is their
Hornets?
window? Because
Like, when do you think is their window?
Is never an answer.
Because right now, if I'm
It's
not
never an answer.
mistaken, the only team worse than them in the league is the Houston
But the
Rockets.
guy you're building your franchise around
Is going to be gone.
But the guy you're building your franchise around
he's gonna move.
Yeah.
is there. He's going to be gone, so that's your
I
answer. Is he's
refuse
gonna
to
move.
believe the son of LeVar Ball is just going to sit there, accept Charlotte, and the team is No, I refuse to believe that it is in that man's personality matrix to be like, yes, I'm going to be loyal to this team even though we're trash. No.
So I will say, out of the Ball brothers, he seems, and
He seems the
So
most
I will
calm.
say, out of the Ball brothers, he seems, and Lamella or
none of the brothers
Lonzo
are
has,
like
and
his
like
father, but Lonzo
really
is
none of the
most
brothers were anything like their father.
young
But
socialite,
Lonzo was the
Yeah.
most
LA
like
or bust player.
Yeah.
young socialite,
LaMelo seems
LA or
going
bust
and playing
player.
in Europe, like that
Mhm.
really benefited him.
LaMelo seems like going and playing in Europe, like that really benefited him and his growth as a person because he
He
seems like
does?
a really
And
good
everything I've
dude.
seen from him, he seems
Um,
very respectful and mature.
Yeah, no, everything I've seen from him, he seems very respectful and mature.
Like when you look back
Um,
at Chino Hills days, like when he had that big afro.
And like when you look back at like the Chino Hills days, like when he had that big afro and like pointing at half court and then shooting, like
at that level,
the trash talk, he doesn't
is a trash talker.
do that
I think if you're in the NBA
at that level. Like he still
Yeah.
is a trash talker, but I don't think if you're in the NBA today, you aren't.
He seems,
Um,
from an outsider's perspective,
but every interview, I mean, he seems, from an outsider's
saying.
perspective, happy to be there.
From
That
personality
could all be
matrices I've seen from the father,
media.
I will give
Yeah.
LaMelo a better shot of leaving than staying if that team is trash. And it has been trash.
So, hypothetically, they get Victor Wembanyama
So,
this offseason.
hypothetically, they get
Hmm.
Victor Wembanyama this offseason, or even Scoot Henderson.
Are your prospects of that team changing in the near future?
Are your
Like next
prospects
year,
of
near
that
future,
team
probably not.
changing
Like
in the near future?
in a few
Or
years,
the season after?
in a few seasons, probably.
Next year or the season after?
Because if I am a point guard that's in the top tier of the
Because
NBA,
if I am
you give me
a
guy
point
like
guard
Victor,
that's in the top
Yeah.
tier of the NBA,
Yeah.
and you give me a
I'll
guy
give you
like
that.
Victor,
maybe to build something special there.
I'm staying
I'll give you that.
because you have the opportunity to build something special there. So
Moving along, I'm debating
so
between these two.
uh,
I
moving
think they'll both be
along, I'm
interesting. We'll
debating
see.
between these two,
I don't know if they will be.
and I don't know.
Okay.
So
I don't know if they
one
will
that I
be.
think will be less.
So I'm going to
You've
go
been
with the
pretty
one
bad
that I
with that
think
so
will be
far today.
less interesting.
Yeah.
Because you guys are wrong.
You're wrong.
That's just
You're
because
the
you
one
guys
who's
are
been wrong
wrong,
this whole episode. You've
and
been
I'm sticking
wrong on
to that.
everything.
Oh, you're wrong.
Go on.
Taking L's. You're right. I was absolutely wrong on
Like
picking Donovan.
taking L's.
You're right. I was absolutely wrong on picking Donovan Mitchell.
I guess it doesn't matter then. So we're gonna go with.
I guess it doesn't matter then. So we're gonna go with.
Jason Tatum.
I think this one will be less interesting. Zion versus Jason Tatum. Go on, Angelo.
Oh man.
Who are you taking?
So
Pull up.
Jason Tatum is having an amazing year. In fact, when I looked at this, the first thing that shocked me was that Jason Tatum is actually averaging more rebounds
Absolutely.
a game than Zion. That really, really surprised me. I'm not going to lie. Zion also had more assists than Jason. That surprised me as well. This one was actually really close, and I think I'm going to go with Jason Tatum, mainly for 31 points per game, 88 rebounds, 4 assists, 47% from the field, 35 from 3, 24 PER, 5.5 win shares when I did the research. I just want to make sure that it's 5.9 now. I think Jason Tatum is generally the better player. I think Jason Tatum's health is way more secure than Zion's. I think, in a weird way, I think Zion is kind of like Shaq, where Zion is the more dominant player for sure, but Jason is the guy I would want to build around, and I think he's having a better season.
So I agree with you, actually. I am taking.
So I agree with you, actually. I am taking
I said early in the season.
Tatum
I
here.
don't think it was on the podcast. I think it was just in a
I
conversation.
said
Yeah.
early in the season, and I don't think it was on the podcast. I think it was just in a conversation that
So far been
Didn't you
wrong.
call him
I thought
MVP?
that Zion would be the points leader. I've so far been wrong about that, but there is
Okay.
time. I said that he was my dark horse for MVP.
No.
Um,
Having an exceptional year, and I'm not saying
he
Yeah.
has not lived up to that. He's obviously having an exceptional year, and I'm not saying he's at
No.
any stretch of the imagination having a bad season. It's just Jason Tatum
Yeah.
has been having an MVP season.
I think one.
Um,
Go ahead.
I think one of the players we're about to talk to next has a much
Zion
better
is.
case, but
Go ahead.
I think both of the players we're about to talk about have a much better case.
yep.
I think both of the players we're about to talk about have a much better case. But I think
Yeah.
he's up there. I think he would be my third vote if I was a voting person.
I don't want to say a better defender, but a more versatile defender.
He's a better. I don't want to say a better defender, but a more
No,
versatile
100%.
Um,
defender.
100% on that
More
too.
versatile scorer.
It was shocking to me to see Zion
Um,
actually is having a better season from 3 than Jason, but I'm sure that's also because Zion's taking butt naked
Yeah.
threes and Jason's taking contested threes as well. But
Less.
at the buzzer, and yeah, it's
Yeah.
And like at the buzzer, and yeah, it's.
from an outsider point of view, I don't watch.
And also, just
Like, I
again, this is from an outsider point of view. I don't watch.
all the press conferences.
Like I watch the games. I don't watch like all the press conferences or anything like that. But it seems like Tatum is more of a developed leader, which is saying something because he's on a team with
Yep.
Al Horford, who we know is a great leader.
I don't see that on the floor as much from Zion. CJ McCollum has definitely.
I don't see that on the floor as much from Zion. CJ McCollum has definitely been that role this year.
I want them to be
And
the loudest
that's
voice
if I'm building around a star player, I want them to be the loudest voice in the room. I want them to be the guy that everyone else is turning to. And Jason Tatum, he talks the talk and he walks the walk. He is, as you already said, his stats are across the board
Assists,
better
yeah.
than Zion's, except for I think
And the efficiency stuff, but
are slightly, yeah, they're slightly skewed. The advanced stats kind of skew towards Zion, but at the same time, Tatum is
the best
on
player.
the best team in the NBA. He's the best player on the best team in the NBA. So he's going to get not necessarily more or less looks because he still is the guy on that team. He's going to be taking more shots. He's going to be having the ball in his hands more than anyone else. But the Celtics don't live or die on Jason Tatum.
yeah.
If Tatum's having a bad night, they've got other players they can turn to.
I'm about to say that Pelicans
Yes,
team
Zion
isn't
has
bad
BI and
either,
CJ and
honestly.
Herb Jones or yeah, it's not a bad team. It's just the Celtics. Like there's a lot of teams on or a lot of teams in this league where Jaylen Brown would be the best player on that team.
Disagree?
No.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Do you disagree? You're
To be fair, there's a lot
okay.
of
I was
players
gonna say.
or teams in the
So,
league that where Brandon Ingram would be
to be fair, there's a lot of players or teams in the league that where Brandon Ingram would be the best player on that team, but
Yeah.
I think Jaylen Brown's a better player.
I'm
So
my devil's advocate
I'm
argument against Brandon Ingram over Zion.
my devil's advocate argument
Zion
against
Williamson
Brandon Ingram
for
for
Jason
Zion.
Tatum.
Yes. So for Zion over Tatum,
Yes. So
I don't have one.
for Zion over
Because
Tatum, I don't have one
We haven't seen
because
Zion until this year. Since 2020.
so we haven't seen Zion until this year since 2020.
Yeah.
He's already had injury issues this year. It's scary.
He's already had injury issues this year. It's
When
scary.
he's on the floor,
It's
he's one of the most dominant players in the league.
I think he's
when
gonna
he's
be,
on the floor, he's one
I
of the
think he's
most
going to be
dominant
this
players in the league.
generation's like what if
But he's
Shaq,
got to get on the
because
floor.
I do like he is probably the most no, not probably, he is the most dominant player physically in the NBA right now, and I think that
Physically.
I think he could compete for titles, especially with that team around him, but I don't think he's gonna play enough games, and I don't.
And that's my concern.
He's at the. I hate to say this.
And
He's
that's
kind of
my
like
concern,
Kawhi,
is
where he needs a team that is built to make the playoffs, regardless of if he plays or not, and then hope he's healthy in the playoffs, and then they make a run.
Yeah, that's what I would also say.
yeah, that's what
Austin, what's your thoughts?
I would also say. Austin, what's your thoughts?
Yep.
I'm Tatum all the way,
Celtics fan because of Jaylen Brown. So
but I'm also like a partial Celtics fan because of Jaylen Brown. So
Yeah, I also I can watch the Celtics just to watch Brown. Like, he is one of my favorite players in the league right now.
yeah,
His
and I'm
the
just
way
worried
he-
about Zion's health. That's
the
what's
health
keeping
is
me.
the biggest drawback.
But when he's on the floor, very sexy player.
But when
Yeah.
he's on the floor,
Segway.
very
So,
sexy player.
Luka Doncic,
You know what else is
Giannis
sexy?
Antetokounmpo.
Segways. So,
So before I
Luka
start,
Doncic,
since I've been
Giannis
starting all of
Antetokounmpo.
these, I have to ask you one question.
Mhm.
How much did you struggle with this when you researched it?
Mm-hmm.
How many times did you flip?
A lot.
Okay.
A lot.
All right.
Little tiny things kept pushing
Little
All right.
tiny things.
Are you ready?
Yes.
I didn't flip once. It's Luka Doncic.
Yes.
It's Luka Doncic. 34 points per game, 8.9
Really?
rebounds, 8.7 assists, 50% from the field, 35% from three, 31.5 PER, and 7.5 win shares. This man is the reason the Dallas Mavericks win. Giannis
I don't disagree.
Giannis is having an impressive season. He is not
I
having
don't
the same
disagree
PER,
with those
and
stats.
he is quite literally almost half the win shares. He is barely shooting above field goal percentage, above Luka, and he primarily works underneath the rim. He barely has more rebounds. Well, not barely, but 11.9 to, might as well call it 9 to 12. 3 rebound difference. I didn't know Luka got that many rebounds. This man literally does everything for the Mavericks. And I think, and here, I'll even do a hot
He's a
take.
walking triple
If you
double.
swap the players right now, the Dallas Mavericks would not be winning nearly as many games. Luka's offense is that pivotal to the Dallas Mavericks. Giannis's defense, I believe it 100%. Giannis's defense, I can't argue with that. Giannis is a better defender than Luka. Luka's offense is that much better
That was
this
going to be my-
season. This
that's
season,
going to be-
Luka's offense is that much better than Giannis's, and this man should walk away with MVP if he continues this. I don't care what anybody says.
Let me ask you a question. Of these two players,
Let me ask you a question.
have votes.
Of these two players, do either of them have
Giannis should.
votes
Yes.
Giannis
for Defensive Player of the Year?
Giannis could arguably win it.
Giannis absolutely should. Giannis
My question,
could arguably win it.
because this is what I flipped back and
My
forth on.
question to you,
Luka,
because this is what I flipped back and forth on, because yes,
Yep.
right?
Luka
easily.
statistically is hands down the pick,
Luka's offense
right? Is Luka's offense greater
This season? Yes.
than Luka and Giannis's defense?
Yes.
Really?
Ren, he needed a 60-point triple-double for the Dallas Mavericks to beat the Knicks. Yes.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you right now, even though I saw Giannis, and he's averaging 30 this year, I'm telling you, if this man was in Dallas, there would not be a soul outside of the paint. I am telling you. I'm telling you. Luka's the man. This year, Luka's the man.
I don't
Oh, I don't.
I don't
I
have
don't.
an easy time saying that because of the defensive gap. Because
I don't have an easy time saying that because of the defensive gap. Because that is huge.
between
That
all
is
of the players that we've talked about tonight.
between all of the players
The
that we've
gap
talked about
between
tonight.
two players' defensive abilities.
It's probably
The
the biggest
gap between the two
absolutely.
players' defensive abilities. This is the largest. This is the largest. And to be fair,
No.
completely fair,
Nowhere near the
they
same
don't play the
size.
same
Nope.
position.
But
They're nowhere near the same size.
the gap between
But
all of their offenses is similar to
the gap between
I don't know
all
if
of their
I can say that
offenses
now.
is similar to
Who's the
this.
better playmaker, Luka or Giannis?
Because yes, we just talked.
Luka.
Who's the better three-point shooter, Luka or Giannis?
Luka.
Who's the better shot
Luka.
creator, Luka or Giannis?
That's
Luka.
debatable.
I don't think it is. That's Luka.
That's debatable.
So if we're going off the traditional definition of shot creation,
Because they create. So if we're going off the traditional definition of
Yes.
shot creation, like
Giannis doesn't do that.
breaking down your man,
just goes through you.
absolutely, it's Luka.
Zion and how
Giannis doesn't do that. So we were talking just now
Yep.
about Zion and how he's the most physically imposing
That's
player
actually
in the
why I
league.
hesitated. I was thinking Giannis
I take
too.
that back because Giannis is that man.
Giannis is the most physical player, physically dominant player.
Yeah. So Giannis is the most physical player, physically dominant player. He's gonna get to the rim in a way that Luka wishes he could.
In terms of shot creation, yes, it's not shot
Att-
creation.
So in terms of
no, shot creation
shot
is Luka.
creation,
Attacking
yes,
the
it's
basket
not
is
shot
Giannis.
creation
What
in the
you're
traditional
describing
sense,
to me
but it's
is
not.
finishing and attacking the basket. That's not creating a shot to me. That's just me.
If you are shooting the ball, that is a shot creation.
I think
That's
it's
all I'm saying.
if you are shooting the ball, that is a shot creation. That's all I'm saying.
Because look at
But the gap isn't that big because
Giannis having a better
look at their points per game.
he does have a Chris Middleton.
And this is with Giannis having a better
Yes.
team around him because he does have a Chris Middleton, he does have a Drew Holiday, he does
Brook
have
Lopez is still there, yeah.
Brooke Lopez there. I think Brooke Lopez is there. Yeah, I can't remember if he's healthy or not ever.
So he has a better team around him. He's not called upon to do as much of the offensive load.
So he has a better team around him. He's not called upon to do as much of the offensive load.
But here's the
defense
thing.
is
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing.
unmatched.
On ball, Giannis is not as good as people hype him up to be. I think Giannis is a much better team defender and like what LeBron used to do, which is rotating from a corner or a wing and contesting a shot that's getting laid up. I think as a team defender, Giannis is better. One-on-one, I don't. I'm just saying.
Fun stat defensive wise. Fun stat defensive wise.
Well, yeah, but
Luka is averaging twice
Yeah.
as many steals as Giannis
Yeah.
is.
Well, yeah, but he's playing passing lanes.
I know he's playing different, but
Mm-hmm.
So here's how I'm gonna quantify this,
Yep.
Angelo. You get 5 votes, okay, for MVP. Does Giannis get one of those 5? It's
Does
ranked choice voting.
You mean like if I'm voting?
does he get one of the 5?
You're
Oh, if I'm picking 5
so
players?
does he get one of the
You're
5?
doing ranked choice voting 1 through 5.
Yep.
Is he on that 5?
Yes.
You're doing ranked choice voting 1 through 5. Is he on that 5?
Player of the year. Is Giannis on
Okay.
those 5?
Yes.
You get 5 votes for defensive player of the year. Is Giannis on those 5?
Angela?
Wait, am I muted? What's going on?
Yeah, you were.
Okay, yes.
Angela?
Yes, he does.
So he's getting a 5
Yeah, you were.
for MVP, right?
Yep.
So he's getting a 5 for
Yep.
MVP,
Yep.
right? And he's getting top 5 for defensive player of the
Nope.
year, right? Is Luka getting top 5 for
I get your
defensive player
point.
of the year?
So top
My point.
defensive players. You giving
I
one to
don't
Luka?
think so.
30?
Top 30
probably
defensive
not.
players. You giving one to Luka?
Probably not. And that's what I'm saying is
Top 30.
I think Luka is
Probably not.
absolutely the
And that's what I'm saying is
Yes.
And
I think Luka is absolutely the
Yeah.
MVP.
Now. I'm picking Luka, but
And
It's the
I'm
obvious
picking
choice,
Luka. Just I'm gonna go ahead and say it now. I'm picking Luka,
But-
but
I don't think the gap is
it's
that big.
the obvious choice.
I think
But
offensively the gap is
I don't
pretty
think the
wide.
gap is that
I
big.
think the gap defensively is wider.
I think the gap defensively is wider.
You can say
And
that.
that's my point. I think that you have a guy
And that's
who
my
is
point. I think that you have a guy who
defensively and
is
offensively. Absolutely.
top percent defense or offensively.
Yeah.
The other guy's top 5% offensively.
Absolutely.
Top 10.
The other guy's top 5%
Then
offensively,
you've got a guy
top
who's
10.
top 1% defensively, and another guy who's
Then you've got a guy who's top 1% defensively, and another guy who's maybe top 50% defensively.
I'm surprised
It's
you
just
didn't flip
the
back
gap
and forth
isn't that
between these
big,
two.
I
and that's
didn't.
why
Luka is the right choice.
I'm surprised you
I
didn't flip
didn't.
back and forth between these two. I know Luka is the right
Not
choice,
even consider Giannis is a little.
but
I didn't.
to not even consider
I didn't.
Giannis is a little. It's a little sus, bro.
I truly believe that if you flipped, if you put
Austin,
Giannis on the
I know who you're
Mavericks,
picking.
they're a lot worse off. And I don't think Giannis is getting. Giannis's efficiency is going down. Giannis's scoring is going down because he's gonna.
Absolutely not.
I think he is.
Absolutely not.
It's gonna be the same because that's.
No, it's not. When they're back in the
Absolutely
paint,
not. His efficiency is going to be the same because that's
the
who he
5
is. He's
people on
going
the
to
other
get to the rim.
team.
Who is going to stop
All
him?
5 people are gonna and like you're not gonna have.
You think all 5 people are going to, and like you're not going to have
past it. You think it's just
quality
gonna be 5
NBA
people on
players
Giannis, and Christian
to
Wood's
pass
gonna
to. You
forget
think
how
it's
to
just going to be
score.
5 people on Giannis,
I'm just.
and Christian Wood's going to
I'm
forget
just
how to
saying.
score.
I'm just saying they're throwing
Spencer Dinwiddie's
everything
going to
at
forget how to
Giannis
score.
if you
think
put him
that.
on the Mavericks right now.
And he's going to run right through them.
Okay.
That's what Giannis does.
And
Okay.
he's going to run right through them because that's what Giannis does.
Austin, go ahead. Tell
But
us
Luka is the right choice. Austin,
your pick.
go ahead. Tell us.
Giannis.
Tell us your pick. I'm gonna patiently
Giannis.
wait. Giannis.
Kidding. No, it's Luka. It's always Luka. It's always been Luka. Always will be Luka.
Yeah, I know.
I don't remember if I said this in our last podcast. We were talking about Luka, but I think he is the best player in the NBA.
I don't know.
I think.
still think Jokic right now. I think Luka will be.
I don't know. I still think it's Jokic right now. I think Luka will be. I think Luka absolutely will be, but
I hate using the word basketball IQ, and I've used it
Jokic
in
is.
this episode now to talk
I
about
hate using the word basketball IQ, and I've used it twice in this episode now to talk about LeBron and now Jokic. I think Jokic is the closest thing to LeBron in terms of basketball IQ. He just sees the game in a way that no one else does, and
I
it's.
think it benefits him as a player more. I think skill set.
I think it benefits him as a player more.
He's gonna get there with
I think skill set, Luka is absolutely number one, and I think that he's going to get there with the basketball IQ as he learns the game more, because he still is young. Yes, he's played with men for a very long time because he played in the Euro Leagues, but there still is hiccups to his game, and that is scary to see that there are hiccups to his game. Once he's more poised, it's going to be fun as a basketball fan. Sad as any, or as a fan of any team that Luka's not on, because I think that by the end of Luka's career, we could be discussing him as one of the all-time greats. And
it's
I think if he keeps the trajectory,
I think of
for
everyone
sure.
playing.
Yeah, it's
I don't think his personality is the same, but I think if someone's going to have a career similar to LeBron, it's going to be Luka. As far as like the team's bad, he leaves it, goes wins the championship, and then
I don't think
you just
Luka's
want
leaving.
I don't.
just want every star player to leave.
I don't
you
think
just
Luka's
want
leaving.
Everyone does
you
it.
just want
LeBron
every
did it.
star player to leave so you can be like, look, everyone does it.
I
LeBron did it too.
I am
It's
for
fine
player
because
mobility.
you want to justify the decision.
I'm not. I mean, I am, but I'm not.
He can be for
I
player
am
mobility,
not.
but
I mean, I
think a person
am,
like
but I'm
Luka is
not.
gonna go.
He can be
I
for
don't
player
think he is
mobility,
either.
but
I'm just saying,
I don't
like,
think a person like Luka
I
is
wouldn't
going to
blame
go
him.
anywhere.
Just, I
I
wouldn't.
don't blame players for leaving. I just, like I said,
I don't blame players for leaving. I just,
I
like
don't
I've
think the
said
players own the
in a couple of our
organization
episodes now,
anything,
Nope.
I don't think the players
and
owe the organizations anything,
Unfortunately, sometimes the
but
fan
the
base has to
fan
be a
bases,
casualty of
I
war.
think they do owe.
I don't know. That's something I think you and I
I no
are
longer agree
never.
with Angelo.
I don't know.
I don't think we're
That's
ever going
something
to
I think you and I
I
are
no longer agree
never.
with Angelo.
I don't think we're ever going to agree on that. Just
The fans
it's
are what pays for the game,
Mm-hmm.
right?
the fans
And
are
the
what
players are
pays for
paid,
the game,
and their
right?
contracts are only
And the
payable
players are
if
paid,
the fans are
and
giving
their
them money and the
contracts are
advertising
only
wants
payable
to
if the fans
give
are
money
giving the money and the
to the league.
advertising wants
The
to
only reason
give the
these
league
people are
money
paid as much as
because
they
the
are is
fans are
supply and
watching.
demand. It's
The only
how
reason
much
these people are
marketability
paid as
there
much
is.
as they are is it's supply and demand.
And you
It's
lose sight of that if you
how
think,
much
oh, the fans are
marketability
just
is
a
there.
casualty.
And if you lose sight of that, if you think, oh, the fans are just a casualty,
So
you've lost sight of why you're making money.
LeBron was #1 in jersey
So,
sales. He got a cut of that, and then he left.
like LeBron was #1 in
Yeah.
jersey sales. He got a cut of that, and then he left.
I just don't agree with it. I don't like. There
Oh,
shouldn't be any rule
that's
that
just.
says you have to stay with the team.
I just don't agree with it. I don't like. There
Mm-mm.
shouldn't be any rule that
From
says you
a
have to stay with a team. But
personality matrix, as we're
from a
using that word tonight,
Yep.
just personality matrix, as we're
exists.
using that word tonight, I just don't think it should
That is, I think,
exist.
the end of the list.
Yeah.
But that is, I think, the
That
end
went
of the
smoother than I thought
list.
it was gonna go.
Yeah.
That went
And
smoother than I
more
thought it was going to
turbulent
go.
at the start. Like I thought the end was going to be more turbulent. The start was
And
going to be
more
smooth.
turbulent at the start. Like, I thought the end was going to be more turbulent. The start was going to be smooth.
No.
We were talking about.
But
No.
you just are
You
wrong
took the
about
L on that. Just
everything
admit you
we
took
were
the L
talking
on
about
that.
earlier.
I will have the majority and someone that had the minority.
Yep.
I
Someone that had the
will.
majority and someone that had the minority.
We're gonna be out here having. Oh man. Never mind. You know what I was gonna say though.
I have a feeling.
You know what I was gonna say though.
I have a feeling. I know where you're going with that.
Oh my god.
A few things.
So a few things that I missed on the news.
Discussed between
Um,
Suns and Hawks.
There's a 3-team trade discussed between the Jazz, Suns, and Hawks.
So it fell.
Oh, that was a couple weeks ago.
Collins.
So it fell apart. It was the Collins, Crowder, Vanderbilt, and Beasley trade.
Mhm.
It fell apart because Utah asked for a first rounder as well. Jordan Clarkson is currently not a trade candidate. That's not surprising.
Oh boy.
Rashawn Holmes is available on the trade market. That's that.
I don't know. He's not making any money. If I was a team like the
I don't know.
Lakers,
He's not making any money. If I was a team like the
Actually, looking
Lakers,
up
I would
some news.
be interested in
There
that.
is the Jazz Hawks.
So actually, I was looking up some news. There is the Jazz Hawks are reigniting discussions for John Collins for Malik and Vanderbilt.
Cutting out the middleman.
Very
Looks like they're
interesting.
cutting out the middleman.
everything should start picking up over the coming weeks, and
Everything should start picking up over the coming weeks, and I think that the trade deadline is kind of like Christmas morning for
Yeah.
sports fans.
Yeah,
in
no,
I
any
think
for
every
sure.
trade line is, yeah.
Yeah, it's super fun.
I
I'm
typically would, when I used to
I
really
typically would
religiously follow the NHL,
you-
I would
when
take off
I used to
trade
really
deadline day.
religiously follow the NHL, I would take
I didn't
off
ever do that
trade
for the
deadline
NBA.
day
I did that
and
for
free
MLB.
agency day. I didn't ever do that for the NBA just because there weren't as many deals.
Pretty busy year.
But this year it
There's
seems
a
like
lot
it
of
could
buzz
be a
around
pretty
the league
busy
right
year.
now, nothing like set in stone.
There's a lot of buzz around the league right now.
I feel like by
Nothing
now
like
we've normally
set
gotten
in
into
stone
more
yet, which is weird. I feel like by now we've normally had more
concrete conversations. One thing.
concrete
This
conversations.
is just something
One
funny
thing
that I saw on NBA Twitter earlier.
this is
They
just
asked
something
Eric
funny
Gordon
that I saw on NBA Twitter
what
earlier.
were the Rockets'
They
improvements
asked
from
Eric
the start
Gordon
of the season.
what were the Rockets' improvements from the start of the season, and this man into a live mic just said, "There's no improvement."
National treasure.
Eric Gordon is a national treasure.
Sadly, when he's
It's gonna be a
Oh,
sad day when
man,
he's gone.
Houston has broken this
It
man.
is. Yeah.
I am excited for him to retire.
He's been broken for a while. I am excited for him to retire just so there's enough NBA or Pacer trade rumors. Because for whatever reason, it seems like everyone always thinks we want to trade for him, and he's a great player, a good player. He's a good player, but
What else y'all got tonight?
what else
So,
y'all got tonight? Anything?
yeah, go back. I don't care.
Not to go back, but Dallas Mavericks no longer interested in trade for Miles Turner.
Either the Pacers were asking way too much.
That's surprising. Either the Pacers were asking way too much, or they have someone else lined up because he, like I've said for a while, I think he's the perfect big to pair with Luka. But
But the Pacers are all in this year.
yeah, don't remind me. Eventually,
pass the torch to his son, and then we'll see.
Herb Simon is going to pass the torch to his son, and then we'll see something different instead of this perpetual mediocrity. Because there's no reason with the talent, the young talent that the Pacers have, that we should continue running on that treadmill. Rumors about Zach LaVine to the Lakers.
Zach LaVine to the Lakers?
Yeah, that's
I don't know.
interesting trade to think about.
Yeah, that's a interesting trade to think about.
They would? No, you're not wrong.
Because they would fit your third best player.
Give LeBron a shooter.
LeBron's been needing a shooter.
Give LeBron a shooter.
I don't think LeBron wants to leave
LeBron
the
really
Lakers,
needs a
but I
shooter.
think that
Only shooter.
it's gotten to the point like he's just like, bro, come on.
I don't know if LeBron wants to leave the Lakers or
I-
wants to stay, but
I don't know if LeBron wants to leave the Lakers or wants to stay, but I don't think LeBron is at the point in his career where he really. I don't think he cares about the name on the front of his jersey at all. I think the only reason he's still in LA is because it's where he wants to be. Like, he wants to be in Los Angeles, not necessarily on the Lakers, but who doesn't, right? Like, it's like 33 degrees outside right now. I would rather be in LA.
For yourself.
But I think it goes back to LeBron has nothing left to prove. He's doing what's best for him, which is being in LA, having his family in LA, and then wherever his son gets drafted, if his son gets drafted, it's not a guarantee.
Yeah.
He's going to go to
It's a
that team
guarantee.
for a season and then hang him
So here's
up.
a question,
That's,
because I've also been watching LeBron interviews, and
Yeah.
he seems
Mhm.
like dead set on getting a full year on the court with Bronny. Why do you think he is so determined and so set on that goal in particular?
So if LeBron doesn't know, or
So if I LeBron doesn't know or publicly hasn't revealed, if he does know, because I can't imagine he doesn't know at this point who his father is. So I think there's a lot
Mhm.
of he wants to be that really involved father. And I think that's something that's important to him, is being able to not just play basketball with his son, but play in the NBA with his son. Because who has done that?
Yeah.
But I don't think that's ever been the case.
I know in hockey there's a few, but I don't think that's ever been the case in the NBA.
It would be just a cool story, and it's something that.
And so it would be a first, it would be just a cool story, and it's something that,
Because he's been away for so long. Because you can't.
you know,
really be an NBA
because
player.
he's been away for so long. Because you can't really be an NBA player and
Yep.
be there all the time.
I looked it up.
Because you're traveling for half the year.
Bill and
So
And
I
so
looked
this-
it up.
Hmm.
Bill and Luke Walton.
Bill played a season when Luke entered the NBA.
Oh, really?
Interesting. I did not know that.
In the
Mhm.
NHL, I think there was actually a.
I think
time
in the
when
NHL, I think there was actually
son all played
a
in the
point in time when a grandfather, father, and son all played in the NHL together at the same
Let
time.
me make sure that's right. Hold on. Let me
Yeah,
fact
I'm
check
not.
my fact check.
I do know in the MLB, Ken Griffey Jr. and Ken Griffey Sr. got to play
But-
on the same team, and actually even had a father-son home run, like back-to-back home run.
Yep. So they
Yep.
played together.
On the same team. I believe it was the Seattle Mariners.
So they played together?
But
Hmm.
that's my thought is just
But that's my thought is just
like that with your son.
getting to do something like that with your son
Correction.
is LeBron's driving force behind that.
Okay. Correction. It was not the Waltons.
Okay.
So has there ever been one?
In the NBA?
So has there ever been one?
No.
No, it
Yeah.
doesn't look like it.
Yeah. So
No, it doesn't look like it.
Yeah. So
Father-son duos.
that's just my take on it, and I think
that's
if
just
Bronny
my
was
take on
a
it.
few years
And
away,
I think if
LeBron would
Bronny was a few years away,
able to play at an elite level.
LeBron wouldn't be considering it. But since he still is able to play at an elite
Yeah.
level, it just makes sense.
I actually really hope that a team that's competing drafts him so that
You guys,
LeBron and Bronny can really experience like one good playoff run together. That would be nice. If it was like if it was like in Cleveland with Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, LeBron James, Jared Allen, Bronny, like that'd be amazing. I'm just saying that'd be amazing.
So like, this is the thing. I
So,
don't
like,
actually follow LeBron's
yeah,
son
this is the thing.
Hmm.
in terms of
I don't
career
actively
development
follow
or whatever.
LeBron's sons, like in terms of their career development or whatever.
Now, as far as I know, going to be a lottery.
Bronny's not, as of now, as far as I know, going to be a lottery pick. So
It shouldn't be that hard to get him onto a contender and then get LeBron.
it shouldn't be that hard to get him
I
onto a contender and then get LeBron.
Yeah, I'm about to say I
Unless a
think a
team
team.
that
I
is
think
just
there's
like
a small
elite.
chance there might be a sweep. I don't think it's going to be a like the 101, but I think there's a small chance there might be a mini sweepstakes for Bronny just to get LeBron in the building.
Yeah, because he's gonna sell tickets no matter how.
Exactly.
But
And
Yeah, because he's going to sell tickets no matter how he's playing. But
like Bryce is
that's the thing is, Bronny
Yeah.
is not
no, Bryce is
LeBron
closer to the
at
frame.
all. Like Bryce is closer to LeBron.
Either way, I'm excited for it. It'll be fun to watch when they finally get to the.
Either way, I'm excited for it. It'll be fun to watch
Mhm.
when they finally get to the
Oh, for sure.
stage together.
It would be cool, but obvious tampering if like
It would
LeBron
be
got to be the one to go up on
cool,
the stage
but
to announce.
obvious tampering if like LeBron got to be the one to go up on
That
the
would be
stage to
cool.
announce
That would be really
who was
cool, but
drafting
he would
Bronny.
have to know beforehand, and like it would be like rigged.
That would be really
Yeah.
cool, but he would have to
So
know
unless, like,
beforehand and like it would be like
we
rigged.
don't know about or ends up being one
So unless like Bronny has developed in a way that I don't know about or ends up being 101, that wouldn't be
True.
Unless
But
it was
you-
the Lakers pick.
The Lakers taking it and
True.
Bronny being the best player available.
or well, the Lakers taking it and Bronny being the
That'd
best
be
player
so-
available. Because
That'd be so tragic.
But do you guys have anything else tonight?
So.
Angela, you got anything else?
No, I think I'm
No,
good.
I don't think so.
All right, so
Angela, you got anything else?
fun. It went a lot different than I thought. It was
All
gonna go,
right,
but-
so that was fun. It went a lot different than I thought it was going to go. But follow us on social media. We are on all social media platforms. No Reserve Radio. It's going to be a lot more active. Angelo and I are going to be more invested in them. We have the ability to be more invested in them now, so we're going to make sure those are more up to date, and you will have the ability to interact with us for whatever reason you would want to interact with us. I don't know why that was like a pot sweetener, but it was. Let us know what you want to see in the future or hear in the future. Send us a question for the question of the day. And just talk to us. We're bored. We don't do anything outside of work, so interact with us. Like, follow on all of the platforms you can possibly listen on. Leave us a rating if you want to do that. If you don't, that's fine. And we will see you next week, same time.